We are going to take a look at the next-gen stat charts from NFL.com and look at what these running backs did on the field. Not every running back gets next-gen stat charts, but we're going to take a look at 10 of them today, see what these guys are doing, where they're carrying the ball, look at their numbers, and tomorrow we're going to be going deep on the waiver wire, so you need to click that subscribe button because we go deep at wide receiver, we go deep at running back, looking for those hidden gems. And if you need a hidden gem, I'm your guy. On top of that, we're doing deep dives throughout the week on as many players as possible. And then on top of that, we're using these videos to help you set your lineups. Click that subscribe button right now. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair again. Taysom Hill's not a running back, but he's whatever he wants to be. He's carrying the ball. He's getting the ball mainly to the outside. And it's really fun watching the red zone and just looking up and seeing a random Taysom Hill carry. Nothing makes you more happy than just watching this guy carry the football, plot on the outside, and then hit that afterburner once he gets about 20 plus yards downfield. Taysom Hill is going to get a lot of work going forward because the Saints have nothing else. He should have been picked up like 2 weeks ago because the injuries hit this team hard on offense. It's him and Alvin Kamara, and then throwing deep balls to wide receivers downfield like MVS. That being said, we're looking at Taysom Hill projecting forward. I don't trust him to be consistent. I trust him to give you random games like this where the scoring is weird. He is not a projectable player due to what we saw yesterday. Catching some balls, throwing some balls, running some balls, just doing a little bit of everything. Nothing consistent in the workload, even when it's good to project. But you kind of want it on the field. We got a bye week coming up. So some people may just drop him if they're just streaming tight ends. Some people might pick him up and hold. But he's a player to look at. He's going to get work. I project he's going to be up and down. And I project the ups are just going to be massive. For the tight end spot too. Because the ups are usually not that high at the tight end spot. And for that being said, when you're looking at tight ends that are running the ball, which is rare, catching the ball, throwing the ball, that is rare. But the upside spikes is what you're looking at here. Because those down games, like in week 10, where he scored 7 PPR fantasy points in that week, in that game, from catching, running, and all that stuff Taysom Hill does. He's just a few points off from that week, in general, from being a tight end 1. Because 9.6 PPR fantasy points got you in the back door of tight end 1 status. That being said, Taysom Hill, his down games ain't too far off. So why not shoot for the upside and go for the moon, especially if you need to do that. Nick Chubb's not trustable going forward. He wasn't trustable as of now anyways. But this is going to get nasty coming up. Steelers, Broncos on the road, then the Steelers on the road, then the Chiefs. That's a nasty set of defenses he's going to have to face for the rest of the season. And after that, we're deep in the fantasy playoffs. You got to make it that far. Nick Chubb, you got to make some decisions with. And if you're good at running back, you're not starting him. And if you're not good at running back, you're praying that these touches get you somewhere. But he has not been getting anywhere. Nick Chubb has not been living up to Nick Chubb since the injury. That's forecastable, but he's a guy to pick up back then because he's Nick Chubb and because of the workload, because you need running backs who are getting this many carries. He had 11 carries. 11 carries is good for a running back, and you'll throw that in a lot of lineups unless you're blessed. A lot of people aren't blessed at running back, so don't be naysaying Nick Chubb. Because some people need to put in a running back that's getting more than 10 touches in a game, and they just need to pray to the fantasy gods. And they're in that type of way. Some people are in 16-team leagues. Some people are decimated at running back. Not too many because there hasn't been that many running back injuries. However, Nick Chubb hasn't been hitting in the stat line. The workload's been there. They're trusting the workload. But these matchups coming up, weeks 12 through 15, are not looking good. But we're getting carries to the outside, some up the gut. Remember, the Browns were trailing in this game to the Saints. The game script hasn't been for them. The last few game scripts have not been for them. That being said, Nick Chubb, 2025, we'll see you then. Alvin Kamara, we're still talking about this game, but he's getting a lot of work. He's getting a ton of touches. He's getting a ton of opportunities. We got 4 targets in this game, 4 balls caught, 22 yards. On top of that, 16 carries. 20 opportunities in this matchup, and we're rocking it to the outside. They're trying to get him in mismatches. They're trying to get him up the gut. They're getting him everywhere. Really, Alvin Kamara is going to get rode heavily for the rest of the season. We got a bye week to freshen up, and then we should be coming back pretty strong afterwards. If you need to make a trade for a running back, this is the guy to do so, considering we did not go over the moon this week, even though we were okay. We were good for fantasy production. But if you're looking for work rate, I don't see many running backs getting more work than Alvin Kamara. Najee Harris. If you want to play the penny stocks at running back and get a running back who's been consistent getting touches, I mean, look at the carries here from week 7. 21 carries, 19 carries, 21 carries, 18 carries. Not big time when it comes to fantasy production, but good enough to get you the job done for you week to week. And that's something you may want to do if you're playing penny stocks with starting running backs. I'm saying get a cheaper starting running back that is getting work on a team that's running the football. He's sharing the workload with Jaylen Warren, but he's getting that work. You can rely on that work, and he's not going to be overly expensive compared to the top running backs, but that's just a price analysis of what you're getting here at running back. So this is a running back to look at. He's getting a lot of carries up the gut, red zone work, short distance work. He's getting a lot of opportunities, though. 18 carries is a lot. You're seeing that between the tackles, a little bit to the outside on those money touches. That being said, if you want cheap work, starter work here, this is a running back you could look at. Derrick Henry is just going off this season. And some of these games, they're tighter matchups, and it's starting off to not look so great. Then all of a sudden we get that touchdown. We break off that long run. If it wasn't against Pittsburgh, that long run might have been a touchdown on that one. That might have happened because the Steelers are locked down. They've been locked down all year. Derrick Henry got you good results considering the matchup. It's up the gut. It's to the outside. They're trying to get him in space. All it takes is one alley, and he can house it. Aaron Jones had that injury where he came out for a little bit last week, came back in, got 15 carries in this game. Cam Akers got some work. I got like 10 carries in this matchup as well. Got work on the outside. Aaron Jones has been very dependable this year. They want to get him the ball in space. They want to get him targets out of the backfield. They're getting him work. Rough matchup this week. Did not hit for fantasy production, but you chase workload here. 15 carries. We got a target in this matchup. We're coming back from getting nicked up. I wouldn't say an injury. Still, after that, they're still using you in the offense because they need you. That's a good sign, especially against softer defenses. You're going to be rolling Aaron Jones. Tony Pollard, we're getting quiet right now, but we were hot earlier. I wouldn't go too far away from it. Again, this was a weird matchup against the Vikings. They're trying to get him space on the outside. He can house it from anywhere on the field. He's very explosive. He's like the only thing to really look at on this team. Calvin Ridley's got a lot of upside. Nick Westbrook has scored a touchdown 5 of his last 6 games. But honestly, from game to game, trustability, Tony Pollard's like the only player you can really trust. And that's okay to get a down game this late in the season, considering he has been exceeding expectations due to his situation. Tony Pollard is probably going to get right in the back end of the season when the matchups are right. Kyren Williams is getting a lot of workload in this game. He was getting a lot of opportunity. No targets in this matchup. They were up in this game, and the Patriots had to come back. They're trying to get him in space on the outside. He's getting carries up the gut. He's getting some work here. He's getting a lot of opportunity. Kyren Williams is just always going to be that dude, getting about 90% of the snaps out of the backfield, shooting the other running backs off the field, and that's what it's going to be like until either something happens or they got to do something with the contract a few years down the road. Right now, you're not worried about it. You're not worried about it unless something happens. Kyren Williams, just good as gusto for fantasy production, except for last week we didn't really hit, but that workload was there. 86 yards, 15 carries. You're looking at Kyren Williams every week. You're never going to bench him. J.K. Dobbins. He is the success story. He is the comeback story right now. 11 carries, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also getting some work, catching the ball out of the backfield. Looking explosive, good balance. Good center of gravity, moving the football. He's a very dependable rusher, and you're depending on him week to week. One of the most exciting, probably one of the best values at the running back position. You could have cashed out that wide receiver, got him and Chubb in the back end of your draft, and you would have been studly. You could have had 2 stud tight ends, had like 5 stud wide receivers, got a good quarterback, and you're rocking him and Chubb. You're looking studly. Not many people did that. We were saying J.K. Dobbins was a value to see what would happen in the start of the season. We were saying Chubb was a value, and we had some values in the middle rounds like Alvin, Kamara, and Aaron Jones that we liked. J.K. Dobbins, hella value for the production this year. Chase Brown. Chase Brown is becoming the Bengals' Kyren Williams right now, getting work in the passing game. He had 7 targets in this game, 22 carries. He's on the field a lot. He's electric. He's explosive. They should have used him more to start off the season anyways. Zach Moss is a very dependable running back, but dependability doesn't pay the bills, and dependability doesn't always give you that upside. And when you lock in to this young prospect that has a lot of upside with the athleticism, has a good profile coming out of college with the production, sometimes you got to lean in that, see what happens. And it's looking good with Chase Brown. Very productive, looking good on the field. They're trying to get him the ball in space, on the outside, up the gut, everywhere. Everywhere. He's the man in this offense right now. They're not trusting anybody else. They shouldn't. We got a bye week coming up. He's going to rest up. They're going to add more to the game plan. Chase Brown is good to go. No one's trading him away. You're going to have to pay the piper if you want him in fantasy football. Those are the running backs that we're looking at from week 11 from the next gen stat charts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.